Okay, we're wrapping up the semester, and I'm just going to talk about a couple of other topics that are important in environmental science and management programming. And first, we're going to talk a little bit about Qt and other things you can do with it. So Qt is really a full-blown graphical user interface package that's quite powerful, and we can do a lot with it. I've just done a couple little examples here that I was going to show you. Okay, and this first one, I'm just going to copy it and paste it from the website and go ahead and run it. And you can see that it draws some stuff into a window. Now this is pretty simple looking window, but you can imagine this could be all kinds of different GIS data, and it could be charts and other things that you create. And in a minute I'll show you that it could also be agent-based models, and I'll talk more about what those are. So I'll walk through the code pretty quickly. Here you'll see the standard imports for PyQt and some other stuff. And what I've done is I've created a canvas widget. So in Qt, this is how you get the ability to paint into a window. In other words, instead of adding controls, things like buttons and list boxes and things like that, you can draw rectangles, circles, lines, and text into a window. And also, and so this is our canvas widget that has drawing in it. So we can take a look at that code. It starts out pretty simple it's actually inherited from base class for a label. Initialize it, and then here's the real key is there's a function inside of every Qt widget, and a label's a widget, called paint event. And this event is called for a dialog to repaint itself. In other words, when we bring this up and move it around, this function is being called to repaint what's here in the window. Anytime things change, it's going to get called to repaint. So the way you paint into a window in Qt, and this is different from different graphical user interface packages or GUI libraries, is first you create something called a QPainter, and then we begin painting, passing it our object that's our widget, it's our self, and then you can create a brush using a Q color, and this is red, green, and blue, so that's going to give us a red brush, and then we can go ahead and draw a rectangle. And if we run that, you'll see we've got a red rectangle. So let's go ahead and make that rectangle larger. I'm going to change my 90 to a 190, and all of a sudden you find out that it's quite a bit wider. Let's go ahead and make it shorter. So now we have a shorter rectangle. So these values represent the upper left corner, X value of the upper left corner, so the left side of the box, the Y value of the upper left corner, or the top of the box, and then the width and the height. And that's pretty common. X, Y, width, and height. Similarly now we can do a different color, red, green, and blue. So this is going to be a green color, and then we can draw an ellipse. And again, we've got the X and the Y. I believe it's at the upper left-hand corner. Might be the middle, we should check. And then the width and the height of the ellipse. And there's our ellipse. Okay. And we can see that X is 10 here, X is 10. And this box and the ellipse are lined up pretty well, so I'm betting that's the X and Y of the upper left corner, and then the width and height. Again, that's fairly common in these drawing packages. Then we're going to do another color, equal values of red, green, and blue, so that's going to be pretty gray. Change the width, and oh, I should have said, and this is creating a pen instead of a brush. So brushes in Qt fill shapes, pens draw the outside. I'm going to change the width to 5, go ahead and set the pen into the painter, and then draw a line, again from XY to XY. And there's our gray line. So pretty cool stuff. I think it's relatively easy, but I would start off slowly. Oh, I forgot to mention, here's how you draw text. I just set the pen again to be consistent. We can set a font. So there's a Q font object, decorative font, and then the size of 20. So we can make this different sizes. I'll make the text quite a bit smaller. Oop, now we got little text. Okay. And then we go ahead and draw the text, giving it a rectangle of the widget, some alignment, left, right, center, that kind of thing, and then some text. And there's lots more information on how to do this on the Qt website and on the web. The last step in painting is to end it, and that's that whole widget. That's all it takes. So it's mostly drawing each thing you want to draw. And you could draw whatever you want, and we could update this and change it, which I'll show you in a second. Now the class is a little different, but not too bad from what we've been doing. I get a main layout that's a box layout, and then I go ahead and stick a frame into this. I put a frame in it because I want to do a styled panel. Getting a little bit stylish here, I guess. Here's this border. Okay, so that gives us a frame. And I add the frame to the main layout as a widget. And then I get a vertical box layout, could be any layout, in fact, I'm not sure it's needed, and I set that layout to the frame. Now, the key here is then I go ahead and take the layout and I create a canvas to draw in from our canvas widget, and I set it as a widget into the settings layout. In other words, Qt's got this kind of interesting thing where you can't add a widget, you have to add a widget to a layout, you can't add it directly to a window. So like here you can see we've got our main layout and we add the frame to that. And then we can't add stuff directly to the frame, we have to put a layout into the frame and then we add widgets to that. So you go window, layout, frame, layout, and then add things to that layout. And you'll see this layering throughout the way Qt works. A little bit unusual, but it gives you lots of flexibility. And then we go ahead and just set the main layout. Change the size of the window as we've done in the past, and then the title, and show it. And then we go ahead and run it as we've done before. So, I hope you enjoy playing around with Qt painting.